That's great. So yeah, I wanted to start off the discussion with New York Comic Con, and because I know Tony, you were there, Johnny, you were there. Yeah, Tony, were you set up or were you just walking around doing the pro?
No, I was just walking
thing?
around, talking to people. I actually got to pitch Star Noir to Scott Snyder. That was
Sweet,
pretty awesome.
man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's kind of
That's
the
awesome.
highlight.
Is he looking for new properties, kind of thing?
I don't know. I mean, he was there was an educational panel, and then
cool.
Once it all wrapped up, people were talking to him on stage, and then I gave him one of the cards for the Kickstarter, and I was telling him about the book, and he was like, he thought the title was very cool, and said he was going to check it out. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, very cool. And he's written some great noir too. So that's a good person to hand it off to. So, and I know, Johnny, you actually were set up at Small Press, right?
Corner desk.
Yep.
Corner.
We had a corner in Small Press. We were 2 rows over from Viz Media. I think I had a good spot. What would you say, Tony?
That was a pretty good spot. There's so much traffic going through your area. Yeah.
There was a lot of traffic, I'd say.
Were you on the end, Johnny? Were you on the corner that me and Amy had for a few years?
We were the opposite side of it. So, you were in this corner. I was the corner that would have been to your right.
Oh, okay. So it was almost like part of an intersection, kind of like.
Yeah. It was a 4-way. They did the booth layouts with like 3. So 3 booths, then an aisle, 3 booths and an aisle. So, lots of people had the opportunity for corners.
Oh, cool. That's cool. So tell me about it, guys. Like, the only thing we've heard on this end is someone took a dump on New York Comic-Con somewhere. That was like the big news, I think.
I didn't hear that much.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I heard it.
If you Google it, I think there's even like a Bleeding Cool story.
Of course, Of course, Rich is going to make an article about it right away.
Somebody did.
For Christ's sake.
I was like, oh my god,
people are savages. That's all I got to say.
I hate that it overshadowed every other news that was coming out of New York City.
This is the second time someone or some animal is taking a dump at a Reed Pop show, and it's made public news.
Was it
deliberate right now?
Was it a deliberate dump or was it an accidental dump?
That's what I'd like to know, if they knew, if Johnny heard anything.
What I heard, I can't say I know because I don't know. I wasn't witness. I wasn't party to it. But what I heard was that somebody was waiting in line for a photo op, and it was taking forever. So they did their business right there.
It was probably the Artist Alley Sushi that did.
It was the Artist Alley. Revenge of the Artist Alley Sushi.
That's a real test.
I only heard it like through rumor, and you know how telephone goes. The sentence starts one way and ends another. So I couldn't give you any details, but that's what I heard.
It's a whole science to, when to eat before a convention, when to, you know what I mean? you gotta time everything just right,
So I think it's a conspiracy theory, like Annabelle just said. There you go.
There's no evidence of the poop, no cell phone video, no pic, no eyewitnesses. So did it actually happen?
It was perpetrated by
is this Poopgate?
This is Poopgate. It was perpetrated by other convention owners in the Northeast area to try to shut them down.
I don't think Reed Pop is gonna be shut down by something like that.
Reed Poop.
Reed Poop.
Oh, Harry, you did it again. I love
it. So Johnny, tell us a little bit about the 4 days there. Like, what was your experience like?
So, as Annabelle mentioned in one of the posts there, we were right underneath the 2000 sign.
Yeah.
So what a better marker, especially for people who are like, oh, I'll be back. Just say, hey, look for the 2000 sign. You can't miss us. And that worked. That worked a lot. It worked really well for George. Worked well for me. The show floor is very busy. I brought 16 copies of Cthulhu is Hard to Spell, and I sold them all out.
Oh, sweet, man.
So go figure. Great. You know what I mean? And that book cost $30 a pop. So
that's good.
Now, numbers for you.
You went home with a lot lighter load, but that's always good.
Dude, those suitcases were so light on the ride home.
That's awesome.
So one of my moments where Tony got to put his book, talk about the Kickstarter with Scott Snyder, Greg Nicotero came by the booth
I saw that.
right before show's opening. And
this was which day? Thursday?
Thursday, yeah. No, it was Thursday morning. He swung by the booth, or he happened to be walking by. I
You
told him,
recognized
big
him?
fan, recognized him, big fan, pulled him over. Hey, I got to show you something. And I told him, like, hey, I pitched Surrounded by Death as Mallrats meets The Walking Dead. And I wanted to give him 2 copies. He goes, oh, this is really great. Funny that you say that. My wife worked on Mallrats. And I was like, oh, what a funny coincidence. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so that was
awesome.
kind of cool.
So to get back to New York Comic Con, Tony, what other experiences did you have this weekend while you were there? Were you there all weekend or just a couple days?
Just Friday and Saturday.
Gotcha.
Walking around with my partner Gwen. We just just hanging out, taking in. It was actually quite surprising how much anime and manga have just taken over the convention.
Really? Like I was curious about that.
Like no real big Marvel booth outside of selling some animation. No DC booth. No image booth. Not even like a Midtown Comics booth to buy some half off graphic novels.
So how was it tabling with George? Johnny, did you guys
Awesome.
work off each other like I thought you would?
We are like dynamite together, bro. It was good. It was so
Nice.
good. We filled in for each other if we were absent. We were able to kind of understand each other's pitches well enough where we could pitch for each other. And I needed cash and change at one point, and I was able to help him out. Wi-Fi was a real big problem at the Javits Center for some people.
Yeah, I saw Amy asked about that.
So they were forced. So some parts of the building didn't have repeaters. So some people were like, for example, the Wayward Raven guys, they were at the other end of the venue, and they were having a lot of problems with Wi-Fi. They were forced and muscled into having to basically subscribe and get the package because reception wasn't working over there, and that's kind of unfortunate.
So they did like
for some reason I didn't have a problem, so I was able to take charges for George, which was great.
So they pulled the Game On Sports on
they pulled the Game On Sports.
Sounds familiar.
They pulled the Game On Sports maneuver.
Yeah,
that's terrible. How was attendance compared to the last few years? Like I know during COVID, that was the last time I was down there, and that was I think the second or third year of COVID. Yeah, and it was kind of, the aisles were super wide. You were there, Johnny. The aisles were super wide. The crowd wasn't quite there. It was like half of what it usually is. And
so the aisles are still wide. They've kept the aisles wide like that, which I like. I think it's good because I don't know if you remember before, but they were super tight. And there's kind of a balance. My cash works every time. Hells yeah, it does.
Yeah, right. And George, he just wanted to stop by and say hello. And
thanks, George.
Glad you got home safe, Johnny.
Yeah,
that's good. So anyways, go ahead, Johnny. I'm sorry.
So aisles were super wide, but which was good because the aisles used to be really tight. And then the kind of the dilemma there technically is that, if it's too wide, they'll walk down the middle and they won't mess with either side. They might just go straight and kind of avoid you. If it's too tight, it becomes cattle. Anybody who stops and you're creating a block. Right. So people keep moving. So, and to that effect, I think it's kind of like you got the Goldilocks size right now where you can bounce back and forth and shop in between. It's about the same size it was for San Diego Special Edition, that distance apart between booths. And I thought that worked out very well.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Good attendance. At one point during peak hours on Saturday, the bathroom wasn't too far for me, but it took me 45 minutes to get there. Because it was
the lines are always ridiculous.
Lines, and just the walk because of so many people.
Yeah.
It was just slow moving. So
you got to plan your bathroom trips at that show. Definitely.
Exactly, and I get FOMO when I'm away from the table. Like, I don't want to miss the sale.
So you know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. I always hated to leave the table.